Now, I'm very honored to introduce a very important person for our Media Dialogue project. She is already here. It is Mrs. Doris Barnett. Since 1971, she's a member of the SPD, the Social Democratic Party of Germany, and since 1994, Mrs. Barnett is a member of German Parliament. And now she's here with us, and I'm very excited to hear her keynote speech today. So welcome, Mrs. Doris Barnett, and thank you very much for taking the time being here today.
Well, dear participants, let me express my warm welcome to you all to the Media Dialogue Forum 2020. I'm very glad to join you all today in an online format, and I thank all the organizers that made this forum possible despite the COVID-19 pandemic. My special thanks goes to my old friend, I wouldn't say buddy, but to my old friend Wolfgang Ressmann, with whom I think we started it together, having an idea whether we cannot have a public broadcasting systems like we have the offene Kanal in Ludwigshafen and all around Germany, whether we couldn't have that also in the Eastern Partnership countries. And I got this idea in his head and he started it. And this is what came out. And I'm very proud, Wolfgang, that you and your colleagues from the offene Kanal in Germany did just such a wonderful job. As the head of the German delegation to the OSCE EPA, I'm deeply concerned about the renewed military escalation of the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh and violations of fundamental democratic freedoms in Belarus. These two incidents clearly show how important for peace and democracy the freedom of expression and information is, and just how vulnerable in such conflict situation the media and journalists are. Unfortunately, both in Nagorno-Karabakh and Belarus, there have been some cases of violation of media freedom, which I condemn. In Nagorno-Karabakh, at least 4 journalists have been injured since the renewed outbreak of hostilities. In Belarus, several local and international journalists have been detained and sentenced to several days of arrest, revoking journalists' accreditation, blocking independent media websites and internet access, and other harmful practices of the Belarusian government that undermine freedom of press and expression. I think we heard quite a lot from our participant that spoke, not from Michelle, but the one before her. But not only hot conflicts hamper freedom of media. Throughout the OSCE area and beyond, we can see radicalization and polarization. Confidence in democratic structures and independent media are waning. In Europe, right-wing populists and EU skeptics have worrying appeal. I am also concerned about the situation in Central and Eastern Europe, where populists and conservative political forces are trying to put independent media and NGOs under pressure. In recent years, state or oligarchic ownership of media, closure of critical media outlets, and juridical and administrative harassments of journalists and other media actors have worked to grow political control over information. Unfortunately, polarization and a rise of political conflicts have led to distrust and fostering of fake news and propaganda disseminated through dubious media sources. To counter all these worrying tendencies, we need as much as transparency and openness as possible. Free and independent media are both essential for democracy and an important condition for the sustainable social development. Parliamentarians and journalists both are key actors in monitoring authorities' actions and holding them accountable before the public. Last week, the OSCE EPA held an open online discussion on fighting corruption for international journalists. As chairperson of the Second Committee on Economic Affairs, Science, Technology, and Environment, I support further debate on policy instruments to promote a safe work environment for journalists and prevent corruption. Hopefully, this work of the OSCE EPA will meet with broad approval in the Eastern Partnership countries. The Media Dialogue Project, which was launched in Ukraine in 2015, is a fine example of how cross-border exchange can empower local media and young journalists in their region. I am very proud that this media dialogue this year will be held under my patronage because, as a politician, I am committed to providing an open platform for dialogue. But within the OSCE EPA framework, I have established a new informal format of negotiations between member states, in particular parliamentarians, the so-called International Linesweiler seminars, which are focused on conflict prevention and fostering peace in the EU-OSCE area. I have been very inspired by the many young professionals and participants of the media dialogue this year who are committed to dialogue as much as I am. Regarding the rise of polarization in our societies, we need engaged young journalists committed to high media standards now more than ever before to build a sustainable basis for a democratic society. We also need young professionals as ambassadors for media literacy in the new online era. I know you had and will continue to have a fulfilling exchange of experience, inspiration, and great success in promoting freedom of expression and information and strengthening democracy in our countries. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope I could do something for you, for this platform, and I certainly will see to it that we will keep on financing it through the budget that I'm responsible for. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your important and also moving speech, and also for everything you're doing for this project. Also on behalf of all the participants, I want to say thank you. And what you emphasized in the beginning, that through, like, thanks to the exchange also with the friendship to Dr. Wolfgang Ressmann, I think this is very beautiful, to be honest. And Mr. Dr. Wolfgang Ressmann will now say a few words.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doris, for your words, and not only for your words, but for all the things you did for the media dialogue in the last 5 years. When we started in Ukraine, shortly after Maidan, nobody thought that we would be able to, that the network will meanwhile have 5 Eastern Partnerships countries, the universities, meanwhile professional journalists, students, and open channel activists inside to discuss about democracy, media, and the responsibility of media in these ways. So it's a great thing that we have in our symbol also the sign of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, showing that this project is also important for German foreign policy, and to give platforms for discussion, and that's one of the main points on eye level of the participants. And I think this eye level discussion gives these possibilities to the students to make own media products shown in the internet afterwards, and in documentation are one of the main successful points, and to combine it with hard facts policy and politics like we did this year with the three trouble. We have the Corona pandemic, we have the Belarus situation, and we have the absolutely war situation with all the impacts to the project or Armenian participants in the war in the South Caucasus area. So, but we did it, I think, very well, and that is shown that this whole media dialogue is built on trust. Meanwhile, and so without your help, with the help of your office, Jens Kaczynski and Ektarina from your Berlin office, this project week would not have been so successful like it has been. Thank you very much on this point that originally we wanted to go to Berlin to make this meeting as a hybrid meeting in the German parliament, in the Bundestag. So Corona came and we did it from Ludwigshafen. No, we are both at Ludwigshafen sitting and, and speaking to the Eastern Partnership participants. And thank you very much for your support in the last years. And I would be very glad if there will be a continuation of this media dialogue in the next years too. Thank you very much for your words.